Well, hello and welcome to JMC Music Academy. My name is Gary. In this video lesson, we'll continue in the Level 1 certification program, and we're going to talk about today the independence in your left hand and your left hand fingers. And so this is a very important point of development. And so what we'll do in this video is we're going to isolate pairs of fingers. So fingers 1 and 2, then fingers 2 and 3, and then fingers 3 and 4. I would like to urge you to please take your time and play these slowly. This is not really anything that's super musical that you might use in context. It's really something that you want to use to develop the strength in your hands and the dexterity, the independence between your fingers, which is ultimately extremely important when playing guitar. I still practice these after all these years. I've been playing enormous amount of years. I don't want to mention how many, but even after all these years, I do still go through this. And I would also like to sort of note for you, if you feel like your third and fourth fingers do not have as much dexterity as the rest of your hand, you're 100% right. They don't. They just seem to be weaker fingers. And so you could always focus on that a little bit more. That is definitely a way to help it. So without further ado, let's go ahead and put these together. The right hand is not something I'm super concerned with in this video, nor should you be. It's really about your left hand. If you want to tie those both together, I will mention ways to do that here in the video. There are a couple of approaches that we can take for that. So I'm going to get in closer for a nice screenshot so you can see my hands really well. And so it doesn't matter so much where you do this. I'm at the 5th fret right now, or 5th position, but you can do it anywhere on the neck. It's okay. I'm just going to do this in a way that allows my hand to be in a comfortable place. And for me, that's usually somewhere in the center of the neck. So we're going to isolate fingers 1 and 2, as I mentioned. And so we'll just play starting on the 6th string, finger 1, finger 2, and then we'll do the same thing on the next string. So that takes care of fingers 1 and 2 for a moment. We'll come back the same way, but let me show you the rest of the exercises first. So in the same place on the neck, we were in 5th position. Now we're just going to take our second finger starting on fret 6 and our third finger on fret 7 and do the exact same thing we did. And we'll continue by doing the same thing once again with our third and fourth fingers, the weaker ones. Okay, so we did it that way. That would be perfectly fine, but we want to make it a little bit more, I would say, taxing, because we're looking also for stamina within our left hand. And so let me go back to the first 2 fingers, which were fingers 1 and 2, and I'll play the whole thing in full. So on each string, I use my index finger first, followed by my second finger. Let's go ahead and do that on the 6th and 7th frets with fingers 2 and 3. And then, of course, we'll exhaust the last possibility, which is fingers 3 and 4. Please don't be surprised if you cannot play these at that tempo. That may look rather simple, but when you're first learning, that's not necessarily the easiest thing to do. And so that right there is really the crux of what we're trying to do here, but there's more to it. That was taking your fingers that are adjacent, meaning right next to each other. 1 and 2 are right next to each other. 2 and 3 are right next to each other. And then, of course, 3 and 4 are right next to each other. And when we did this, we did it from the lower note to the higher note, or from our lower finger to the higher finger. And so we have another possibility that we can exhaust, which is to actually switch that around. So instead of going fingers 1 to 2, we're going to switch that around and go 2 to 1. We'll do that again with fingers 3 and 2. Notice how I said it 3 and 2, not 2 and 3, correct? a number of ways that you can do it. We can even go a little bit farther where we play 1, 2, 1. So let's do that. You would do that with 2 and 3. And with 3 and 4. And then, of course, we would reverse that procedure, which would be to go. So now it starts on the higher finger. 2, 1, 2 in this case. And then again with 3 and 2. And with 3 and 4, or 4 and 3. So you can do these, for example, while watching TV because they don't take a lot of brain power to do. They take a lot of hand dexterity, but not a ton of brain power. And again, it's not the most musical thing you can do, but it will help you play better, and that is musical. There's one more sort of bit of information I'd like to convey that does have to do with the right hand. Each one of these that I did before this point in the video, I did that by picking each note. So a pick stroke for each note that was played. We don't have to do it that way. In fact, I'm going to go back to the very beginning where we were using just adjacent fingers, and we were always going from the lower number finger to the higher number finger. So in this case, 1 to 2. Again, I'm in 5th position or at the 5th fret with my index finger. So maybe focus a little bit more on the right hand on this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to pick one note, and I'm going to what's called hammer on the second note. So 1 pick stroke, that's why I lifted my hand up, and 2 notes. So what that takes you to do is holding down the first one that you played and smacking your finger, not really smacking it, but smacking your finger into the fingerboard enough to depress the note. So in that example, I played 2 notes per string. There are 6 strings on this guitar. That means there's 12 notes, but there were only 6 pick strokes. And I can do the same thing coming back. So 6 pick strokes, 12 notes. I would recommend that you continue that through the rest of the pairs within the hand that we signified earlier in the video. So you would do that again, of course, with 2 and 3, with 3 and 4, with 2 and 1, 3 and 2, 4 and 3, that type of thing. And so that will get the dexterity thing going. And if you really, really wanted a challenge to take it one step farther, instead of being on the same string, both notes are on the same string in all of those examples, right? What we could do is we could actually skip a string. So we'll still go finger 1 to finger 2, but instead of them being on the same string, we're going to skip a string. So finger 1 will be on the 6th string, finger 2 will be on the 5th string. Then when we make our transition, finger 1 will be on string 5, and finger 2 will be on string 4. It's probably a bit easier to see this than to explain it, so let's go ahead and do that. And of course, you would do the same thing with 2 and 3. But it's just kind of assigning our fingers to do something different, and the message always first comes from our brain. And so to think about it and have your hands respond is really what we're trying to go after in this whole entire video. So this concludes this portion of our series, Level 1 Guitar Certification, and we're talking about left hand dexterity. Thanks so much. Keep practicing these guys. Enjoy them. Play around with them. Watch TV and do them. Thanks so much, and we'll see you on a future video.